This is DVD number 1 to the videotape deposition of Ruggero M. Santilli in the matter of Ruggero Santilli and Carla Santilli versus Pepin Van Erp et al. Case number 817-CV-1797-T-33MAP. This deposition is being held at Reisdorf Reporting Group, located at 3411 Alternate 19 North, Suite A, Palm Harbor, Florida. Today's date is April 16, 2018, and the time is 9:59 a.m. My name is David Furman. I am the videographer. The court reporter is Aaron Perkins. Counsel, will you please introduce yourselves for the record?
My name is Joe Parrish for the plaintiffs.
Jim Lake, counsel for defendants Pepin Van Erp and Frank Israel.
Will the court reporter please swear in the witness, and we will proceed.
Doctor, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you'll provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Dr. Santilli, good morning. I know we met briefly prior to the deposition, but for the record, my name is Jim Lake. I'm here today to ask you some questions regarding a lawsuit that you and Mrs. Santilli brought.
I had asked, sorry to interrupt, I had asked for an introductory statement.
I understand. I will allow you to make your introductory statement. Just a couple things I need to go over first on the procedure.
Go ahead.
I know you've been deposed before, so I won't belabor the points, but just a couple of things. We will be asking questions, and if a question I ask is unclear or confusing or doesn't make sense, will you please let me know, and I'll be happy to clarify it for you.
Can I make the introductory statement?
Well, would you answer my question first? If I ask you a question that's unclear, will you answer it?
Of course I will.
Will you ask me to clarify?
Yes, of course I will ask.
Thank you.
Seems to be obvious, yes.
Yes, and if at any point during the morning you need to take a break for any reason, just let me know, and we'll take a break at that time.
Noted and accepted.
Okay. All right. I do have a number of questions for you. I understand you'd like to make an opening statement, and I don't have any objection to that, but if you could keep it brief, because we do have a number of questions to cover. And if at the end of my questions you want to say more, Mr. Parrish will have the opportunity to ask questions, and you can put on anything you'd like to say at that point.
I object strongly about the limitation of time. We have 7 hours that you can interview me, so please,
That's true.
Please do not make a claim that there is not enough time. You'll have plenty of time of asking any question that you want.
Thank you very
Can
much.
I now make an introductory statement or not yet?
Of course, please.
Okay. Now, my name is Ruggero Maria Santilli. I'm a senior U.S. scientist. I've been was invited to come from Italy with NASA support. I went to 9 years Boston University. Then I was a member of MIT. It was a great honor for me. And then I spent a number of years at Harvard University under support from the Department of Energy. And then after that, I became do research for corporate field. In regards to this lawsuit, I would like to ask that certain documents must be on record at whatever the cost. The first document that I'm asking to be on record is the list of five websites. They are extremely slanderous in their URL, claiming in their URL the stupidity of Ruggero Maria Santilli, that have been published first by Frank Israel in Dutch in his official website of the Skeptic Society, and then translated in English. This is the English version, translated by the employee Van Erp, not only in English, but also in French, Italian, and other languages. Document number 2 that I request to be on record, because this is fundamental for those introductory documents are fundamental for the trial itself. Document number 2 is a search under my name and at the Google search. Immediately you see the appearance of my slanderous article by Arthur Rubin, David Epstein, Mark Bernstein. The controllers, they are not editors, it will be dishonor for America to call them editors, they are the controllers of my article. Immediately below them, there is the defamatory website, 2 of those several. Now, here is the point that I want to be on record. Namely, when we will go on trial, I reserve the duty to prove to the jury that it is impossible for a website but such as this one, the stupidity to be systematically second in line under Wikipedia for 7 consecutive years without the participation and the approval and the assistance by Google. It is impossible. This will be demonstrated by technicians. So this is a fundamental point for what's the main aim of this trial. That's why my wife and I, we filed this trial. There is a conspiracy in the United States of America against advanced research that are opposed by organized interest on Einstein. And I've been one of the many, many victims. We love America, and that's why we filed this lawsuit. Next, I would like to, I will move very quickly now, Mr. Lake.
Thank
I
you.
will, next, I would like to be online, my curriculum. First, a summary, because my curriculum is, this part of my curriculum is 100 pages, and this is just a summary, because I request this to be online, because I may refer to it. So unless it's on record, it's just blah, blah, blah. Okay. Next, I want to be on record. I am here acting today as the CEO of the United States publicly traded company, Thunder. Am I speaking too fast?
You're good.
Tell me, please, if I am speaking, just say Ruggero or just senior. And this, I'm acting as the chief executive of Thunder Energy Corporation, and I want to be this on file. The 10K that we just recently filed supervise the totality of the documentation of the activity of the company in 2018, and for questions pertaining to the activity of the company, I must refer to this important document, because rather than just by here saying. Finally, I request to file. I request to file the rest. I may ask to be filed later on. Those are the third and final documents that are requested to be filed. Those are copies of 3 out of a number of grant applications that I filed as CEO of Thunder Energy Corporation to our military. The first is an application to the Defense Threat Reduction Agency of the Department of Defense. In this application, we propose that our company, Thunder Energy Corporation, I call it TEC here on, our company completes the available neutron source into a nuclear weapon detection station. Because at this moment, we Americans we are completely unable to ascertain as to whether a suitcase going through Tampa Airport, New York, whether that suitcase contains nuclear weapons or not. Uranium-235 is a permanently stable metal, so therefore, under current equipment, it is detected as an ordinary piece of steel. This is an application where the only way to detect nuclear weapons or material is by irradiating them with a neutron source that we gather. This is an application for the Defense Threat Reduction Agency that was denied. In due time, the jury, I will indicate the reason and the evidence why. Secondly, now this case, you gentlemen, all of you in this room are Americans. This is the time to see whether you are real American or you are, or in one way or another, you favor foreign interests interfering in our things of direct national security. Here is another proposal. This time, this one was filed to DARPA. Everybody can see that we produce a neutron flux, very low energy for use in airport. The technology can be multiplied, namely can be brought to a very high, instead of being low energy, now for an airport, a very, very low energy neutron. Otherwise it cannot be used in a public area. But the technology can be implemented to produce very high energy, neutron. What do you end up with? You end up with a basically new weapon for our country. It's called the neutron gun. Here is the scheme, based on our technology. This was filed to DARPA, and the jury has to decide as to whether we Americans can tolerate interference by Frank Israel, Pepin Van Air, and their friends in the United States and accomplices in the United States, or is the time that we defend ourselves a little bit better? Third, I want to be on file. This is another application, also dismissed by the Air Force, and I will have in due time prove, at least to a degree of sufficient plausibility, that this additional grant application for military, that's what I'm talking about, military. I can now disclose this neutron gun because it's been rejected. Public notice. I am the CEO of a public company. I must disclose things to the public. So I'm very proud to say I did my best. It's up now to court to defend me in my fight for the United States of America. This is the third application, also rejected because of the horrendous accusation, slander, and defamatory statement, totally unprovoked. I did not even know the existence of Frank Israel before my wife brought it to my attention. I didn't know the existence of Van Espa. And then friends from my colleagues from all over the world, they brought me, Ruggero, you are vulgarly attacked so much. We don't know. No, I'm doing my research. Anyhow, this is also for a number of additional military application, including what the Russians and Chinese are doing, namely developing. See, until now, what you have to understand, that until now, we in America, we have pushed the power of the engine in our jet fighter, power of the engine, power of the... Gentlemen, this is a technology of the past century, call it millennium. Now, the frontier is to improve the power of the fuel via what? The magna gas. And with all the proof that we have, the proof of the City College of New York that Scott Hudson has presented in his extremely important document that will be filed. Mr. Lake will be filed as, I apologize, Attorney Lake will be filed as a notice. And you are very welcome to object against it. We'll be very happy if you object, because that's exactly what we're looking. Okay, so here is the point. This fundamental advancement in the power of our jet was rejected because those people have attacked in an extremely violent, vulgar, vicious way the notion of magnitude. Why? If you want to object at the technical level in referee journals, but not publicly. They did it publicly, intentionally, to prevent advancement in our military. This is what, if that's what the jury will have to understand. Namely, that this has been an attack to our national security by foreigners, totally foreigners, people that they've interfered in such a vulgar, vicious, completely unmotivated. Mr. Van Erp attacks so violently, sorry if I again speak slowly, please tell me if the attack so violent that has no technical argument whatsoever, only vulgar terms, fraud, circulation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why my wife and I, we prove, I have to say, my wife Carla Santilli and I believe we prove our guts as an American to initiate this lawsuit so that people in America can start to wake up of what's going on against us. I conclude my opening statement with the following statement. I made several times as a scientist all over the world, including scientific media. I have been invited a few months ago to a major scientific international conference in China. In Russia, I've been invited by Gorbachev. I had a private interview, 25 minutes with Gorbachev. They are developing those technologies that in America are no longer possible because of the interference. Because in Russia, those interests don't exist. In China, they laughed at the idea of organizing the interests of Einstein. They just laugh at it. They do the research. So I want to conclude, incidentally, one of the reason for all this is systematic is that all these new technologies they are called beyond Einstein. Everything I work to broaden Einstein theories, not for the condition studied by Einstein, which are point particles and electromagnetic waves moving in vacuum. Those are conditions under which Einstein theory are sacred. I am a strong supporter of Einstein. No, my work has been to surpass those theory for conditions unthinkable during Einstein, namely for large. See, Einstein necessarily requires the representation of particles being points. Mr. Scott Tadson has expressed this view beautifully. Now, but this is the past millennium now, past century. We have to study, we need new energy. We have to study proton and neutron as they are in the nucleus or in a star.
Slow down a little bit, please.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We had, so in the condition studied by Einstein, his theory, my God, it's enough to see accelerator particles proving every day that those theories are valid. So there's no point in even discussing. But when you pass, but they require necessarily the representation of particles are point-like. So this is okay for an electron orbiting around the nucleus of a nitrogen atom. But when you're talking about proton and neutron in a nucleus, no, this Einstein theory cannot be claimed to be violated, will be unethical for Einstein. Einstein is inapplicable. It's not applicable to representation of proton and neutron as extended particles. And so you require, first of all, a mathematics that I study at Harvard on the DOE support precisely to broaden the mathematics using Einstein theory into a form permitting, first time in history, the representation of proton and neutron as extended. And then once you admit the extension, you have new interaction and other implications. But the point is this, that all those theories are against the organized interest by Frank Israel and these groups. And besides, I am not a member of their group, which makes it, otherwise I would have received a couple of Nobel Prizes so far. I'm dreaming, of course, but they will push me in any case. So the conclusion is this, that I stated in a number of international congresses as a keynote speaker. I've been a keynote speaker in many congresses, including the last one in China, Russia, and in so many other countries I don't remember. My statement is this, that America is, our country is the strongest country in the world with no second, to my knowledge. But however, the biggest enemy of the United States of America are in America and carries American passport.
Dr. Santilli, may I ask you some questions about the documents?
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. The court reporter, Aaron, is going to mark some of these as exhibits. May we use these copies?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Here it is. Your
Thank
disposal.
you. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, what I'd like to do... Sure. Dr. Santilli, if you don't mind, so that I can keep the different exhibits straight, what I would like to do is take mark each of these as an exhibit. Yes, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can do it in blue.
Oh, no, Aaron has helpfully provided
okay.
stickers, so we will do that.
Am I allowed to help you in the sequence? Because the sequence is very important.
Okay, sure.
I insist in certain sequences.
Of course.
Because some important things can be hidden against the interest of the United States of America to serve foreign interests. Okay, this is I will recommend, with your approval, exhibit number 1.
Okay, this will actually be marked exhibit V30 because we've already numbered some exhibits from last week.
Very well.
Okay.
This is the number 2.
Very good. That'll be V31.
Perfectly okay. This is number 3. No, my count, number 3.
Yes. This will be V32.
Number 4.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, this is the thank you.
I was thinking the Institute biography
this
might go next.
My biography, yes.
Yes.
Number 4.
And actually, let's pause there for a second, if you don't mind. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about the biography.
Any questions?
Sure. Thank you. V33.
Then we finish the sequence and then ask questions?
Okay, sure.
Whatever, let's finish it.
Okay.
We may lose the count. What count was that?
That's V33 is your biography.
Okay, and then comes this one.
V34 is the 10K for Thunder Energies for the year ending December 31st, 2017.
And then those 3 is very important in that sequence. Those are the military applications that are now public knowledge.
Thank you. V35 is the
Incidental,
one.
sorry to indicate, they were of course presented with extreme secrecy to our military.
Okay.
And
V35 is new initiatives for nuclear detection and monitoring and verification technologies.
that is correct. isn't
Okay.
it? Then the next one is the DARPA, in the division for new weapons for the United States of America.
Proposal to develop the new neutron gun.
That is correct.
Okay, that's
It has been
V36.
rejected.
Okay.
And this finally for a variety of military, presumably expected to be secret, military application of our technology, particularly the improvement of the power of our jets via the enhancement of the energy content of the fuel via Santilli molecules, as they are internationally accepted
Okay.
and recognized.
So V30.
Patented. Also, the United States of, thank you, Carla, the United States of America has granted me an official patent on the molecule that your friends, I don't call them customers or client, or they've attacked so violent. For what reason? What's their gain? See, the jury has to identify why. What's their gain for being so violent against America?
So V37 is a document titled OMB number 4040-0010 from Thunder Energies. Is this a grant application?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Very, very
All right.
secret when it was filed.
Let me ask you.
Rejected, public knowledge. I'm a public company. I have a duty. I want to clarify a second time that I have a duty as CEO of a public company to disclose to the public.
Okay.
Against my will, I would have preferred to keep this. But again, I have information that the Russian and Chinese are doing that. So at least the American people should know what's going on.
Now, Dr. Santilli, I've allowed you to make your opening statement. I'd like to move through some questions now.
I am at your disposal.
Thank you very much. And again, if there is something that occurs to you you'd like to say in addition to your answer, you will have the opportunity to do that. But I do need to go ahead and move into the questions.
Please proceed.
And the first ones were about your biography, so this is very helpful.
Go ahead.
We marked V33, your biography from the Institute for Basic Research website, correct?
That is correct. No, the IBR. The Institute,
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yes.
I call it IBR, Institute for Basic Research.
And
yes.
This document lists a number of academic and industrial affiliations you have, correct?
In the past, not necessarily now, but the answer is yes.
Over the years, yes.
Over the year, yes. Yeah.
And the number of, the word here is monographs. These are books you have written, correct? You've written a number of books?
Scientifically, they're called monograph, about 20 of them, all of them post-PhD.
Okay.
Your friends, the defendants, are illiterate because they have no technical knowledge. Van Herp, as I want to be on record, Van Herp has not even completed this.
Again, Dr. Santilli, if you could just answer the questions at this point. If there are things
I
you want to
apologize.
add, you'll have the opportunity to
I
do that.
apologize. You are correct in this case.
Okay. And then Exhibit V33 also lists numerous papers, shorter
300
articles, publications you've written.
300 plus papers.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this question.
Of course.
You are very welcome.
Let me then ask you about a different Thunder Energies document. I believe you've seen this before. Let me ask you if you recognize it. Well, let's let Aaron mark that first. I'm sorry.
Please, proceed.
Yeah.
I think the stickers are right.
Hang on.
What was that last one again?
37. This will be 38. Okay. Dr. Santilli, I'm going to hand you a document we've marked
Thank you.
Exhibit V38.
I need help to identify. Could
Okay.
you please help me to identify what this document is?
Thunder Energies Corporation announces 750-ton reviews on YouTube between 1:19 and 2:09 for BTV breaking news on the discovery of invisible concave lenses. Of course, we know that.
Yes, it is. If it is an official statement of the company.
Okay, so this is a You could, if you would keep that, I have a copy. I'm going to ask you some questions about it.
Go ahead.
Actually, if Dr. Santilli could keep, Mrs. Santilli, I appreciate your help, but at this point in the process, I need to ask him questions.
Well, at my age, I have a problem in reading, so
Okay.
I need help.
I understand. Thank you very much. Okay.
I am 83 years old, for the record.
Thank you very much. So this document is correct in saying your video announcing the discovery, the breaking news of the discovery of invisible terrestrial entities had 750,000 views in just a few weeks after it was launched, correct?
I believe these are not the record of our company. The interview was listed in the website, to my recollection, of Business Television, which is a very highly professional and structure in Canada. And the hits were in their website, not
Okay.
in Magnagas. And they
I
claim 750 in 10 days. It reached eventually 1.5 million.
But you put that number on Thunder Energy's
Because
document,
it was
right?
released in writing by Business Television.
Very good. So you believe that to be true, as far as you know?
I have not filed a lawsuit against to get evidence from them. Those are doubts that they are maybe easily constructed as being potentially vicious.
Okay. The breaking news video is not your only internet video, correct? You've appeared in others?
That is correct, yes, with great pleasure. That's
V39 then. If you would take a look at this document, Dr. Santilli, does that appear to be a list of videos in which you've appeared or discussing your discoveries?
they look like, yes.
Just a moment.
Some of them
This
at
is,
least.
Okay, I would like to read the subtitle because they are not, the subtitle, it doesn't read
I
bad.
cannot,
The
I have I
first
need
one,
help to read the
Can we
subtitle.
go off the record for a minute, please?
Sure.
Of course.
The
At
first
I'm
one.
sorry, I'm sorry.
10:26 a.m. we are off the record.
I just want to talk to everybody.
At 10:28 a.m. we are on the record.
Okay, Dr.
Well,
Santilli, you've taken a moment to look at this list of videos, and I know you want to say something about it. Go ahead.
Number one, yes, I have been in a number of videos, but I cannot say that those are the video until I see personally. However, from the title that I heard, one of them says, Einstein was wrong. I've been one of the strongest supporters of Albert Einstein. I always indicated that Einstein is a great scientist. Everything that he stated proved to be true under the condition stated by Einstein. So positively, I'm not the author of a video stating that Einstein was wrong. If you look in all my scientific paper, I always make the point, under those new conditions, Einstein is inapplicable, but not violated.
Thank
So,
you. Let me
you're
ask you a
welcome.
question about the last exhibit, V38 on Thunder Energy's letterhead. Do you still have that?
Is this one?
Yes, that one there.
Please.
If you would refer to the second page, well, they're copied front and back to save paper. Does this appear to be, beginning on the second page, Dr. Santilli, a list of links to the Thunder Energy's video? And specifically the video about invisible terrestrial entities?
Vicente Fuentes, primeras imágenes de seres invisibles o humano orbitando la Tierra.
I can't understand, I'm sorry.
Well, of
That's-
course,
I'm sorry.
That's Spanish.
But absolutely not.
Okay.
Telescope detected in Spanish, not at all. Face like the sun watch, not at all.
I do not remember to have
yeah,
authorized.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Santilli, we need to ask Dr. Santilli the questions
I
now.
know, but if you cannot read that,
It-
I mean, it is like
Carl, this seems to be a list of video topics and discussions all over the world, but definitely not. It's not something really that all of those have been authorized by Thunder Energy
Okay.
Corporation.
Do you know why Thunder Energy's compiled that list? It is on Thunder Energy's letterhead, correct?
I have to call. I have to consult. Might have been for Business Television for Canada, maybe for other.
Who compiled that list, if you know?
I have no idea.
Does Thunder Energies have any employees other than the two of you?
No. Well, we use a number of number of consultants outside. We don't have the money to have employees.
Did you have a consultant who worked on that announcement?
We had a number of consultants, including consultants sent by business television. They came with a crew of television crew. So, but they come here, stay there, and then they disappear. Okay. Very likely they may have. In any case, I believe it's irrelevant to prepare this list. Okay. This is a list of.
Dr. Santilli, you've answered my question. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You also are the subject of a biography on LinkedIn, correct? You have a LinkedIn biography?
I've never read it.
Okay. There.
Are we okay?
Let's mark this V40, please. Dr. Santilli, does that appear to be a biography of you on the LinkedIn
I have
website?
to read it.
Please.
Then I have to ask my wife to read it, please. Carla, could you please?
She's reading it.
I'm
This is a
reading, I'm
copy.
trying to understand.
Please read it.
Professional profile. 7 of the board. I'm reading silently just to understand. There is a profile, but is a CV. Maybe it's from some of these profiles are put out by Google Search, Google Scholars. I don't know.
Okay.
I
All
never
right.
saw any of these.
I never read it.
That's
No.
fine. If you don't recognize a document, you don't recognize it.
No, I
no
never read
problem. Thank you very much. Okay. And are a collection of your books on an author page on Amazon?
I'm sorry, could you repeat
Is
that?
there a collection of your books available on an author page on the Amazon
I don't
website?
know. I don't have time to do that.
Okay.
That's
Let's mark this V41, please. Are books you have written available on Amazon?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe yes, maybe not.
Okay. Let me ask you if you recognize V41, please.
Those are recognized. Those are the front pages of my book.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, incidentally, all my books are available in free PDF download. Free PDF download the entire books from the archives of the Santilli Foundation.
Okay.
So they can be read without necessarily buying them. However, a number of scientists, they prefer to have the actual book for their own library, because some of those books apparently they started $50 and now they're sold, and I'm told hundreds of dollars. They're acquiring value with the passing of time. And with the interest created in the scientific community of this lawsuit, my wife and I had the courage to file.
I think they're all yours. Keeping these?
I have a copy. That one has.
Let's mark this V42, please.
Yeah, these are all yours.
Really?
No, we already have this one.
Thank you very much. Dr. Santilli, if you would look at document V42, please, which has just been handed to you. Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay. That's a copy of an award you've received, correct?
That is correct indeed.
Okay. And do you have the original?
Yes,
Yes,
we do.
yes.
Good. Thank you very much. I was going to ask for it. All right. Tell me, if you would, if the conference organizers asked to remove the American Institute of Physics from the award.
That is correct.
Okay.
Because I have to clarify, however.
I'm sorry, Dr. Santilli, you answered my question. If you want to speak more, Mr. Parrish will give you the opportunity to do that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, but you have to clarify, however, what
That was
this
not written.
Tony Parrish, I need to return on this.
Yes.
Cannot remain just like that. For instance, I intend to ask Tony Parrish. I intend to ask that this document be put on file, in which this is a picture of when I received the award in the presence of the three organizers. I repeat, this is a picture of the moment in which I received the award during the banquet in the presence of the three organizers. I request that the document be put on file. Attorney Lake, I have not heard your acceptance.
I have
put
no
this
objection. We can mark that as the next exhibit.
Okay.
Sure.
So the idea that I fake this prize in the presence of the organizers, it is very vicious, to say very, very.
Well, let's mark the photograph V43, and then I don't want to mark your original. That you say that's the original, correct?
Originally, we have it
Yeah.
here. This
Okay,
is a copy.
good.
Do you want to, you can mark
The
the copy if you want.
That's all right. We have the copy that's in front of you already marked. So let's mark that. Is that
Attorney
43?
Parrish, later I would like to ask why the American Institute of Physics requested the removal of the name American Institute, not removal of the title. The American Institute of Physics did not request the annulment of the title.
So your understanding, Dr. Santilli, is that the organization did, or the editor did, agree to remove AIP as a sponsor from the conference website and remove from the certificate. That's correct?
No, but they denied.
Okay.
They denied because the American Institute was indeed a sponsor, and they denied for the following written counts. Count number one: if they cannot dismiss that the American Institute was not a sponsor. The American Institute of Physics was not a sponsor of this prize. American Institute was a sponsor of the meeting.
Okay. So it
So
has
number
to be
one. Number
removed
two.
from the certificate?
They request American Institute of Physics, following pressure by Van Erp and Frank Israel, admitted in their own deposition. Following pressure, the American Institute of Physics requested that, but the organizer strongly objected and confirmed in writing the prize. And that's why I kept the prize. Otherwise, I would have removed. I don't need a prize. I have so many. I don't need another award. I have so many. I would have removed it. And the way the American Institute of Physics achieved their objective is they threaten the organizer that the American Institute of Physics will not publish in the future the proceedings of that series of meetings in the event they did not comply.
Okay.
Those people had the courage to withstand such an attack, and this is one of the cases that eventually we will deal in front of the jury.
Okay.
For the American people to see how foreigners attack our research of direct national relevance.
Let me move on to another subject. Thank you.
Go ahead.
The American, thank you. The American Journal of Modern Physics. That's a journal in which you've had a number of your articles published, correct?
But after hundreds of publications,
Sure.
American Physical Society,
Dr. Santilli, please. The American Journal of Modern Physics
it's one
has
of the minor journals
Okay.
out of many other articles that I published.
Would you say about 8, 10 articles by you
I
in
do
that
not
journal?
know the count. A few articles, after 320,
Okay.
I published, I don't know, 3%, 5%, very small number out of hundreds of articles. And I will not accept and respect the emphasis on that journal only, while ignoring primary journals, the Journal of American Physical Society, Nuovo Cimento, Institute of Physics in England, Russian Academy of Science. I have a number of papers in Russian, etc., etc.
Your biography that we've already marked V33, if you would agree that the American Journal of Modern Physics articles listed here are in fact articles you had published there, correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
However,
that's my only question.
However-
Dr. Santilli, please, that's my only question on that subject. If, again, you can respond later if you need to add things. You paid to have those articles published, correct?
most of the journals, except our journal are free of publication.
But you
charge.
paid the American Journal of
Most
Modern
of the
Physics.
most of the journal indeed. The American Physical Society charges thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Yes, this is pretty routine.
So you agree that the science publishing group that owns the American Journal of Modern Physics charges article processing charges
Yes, this is
to
it's
print your
public
articles?
knowledge in any case. How can
Okay.
I possibly deny?
Okay.
But it is for all journals, and not only for that journal.
To 44? Okay. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
Dr. Santilli, let me show you a document we've marked V44. I believe that's one of your articles in the American Journal of Modern Physics, correct?
If it carries my name, it is. Yes, it is my article.
Okay, you can keep that
Thank
copy.
you.
I've got one. Thank you. Just a couple of questions about this. You mentioned earlier that this journal typically charges for publication. You paid then for this article in particular to be published in that journal, correct?
My answer is that all journals, with extremely few exceptions, require publication charges. So it's not an exception.
Okay,
It's
thank
a
you.
routine. Actually, the publication charges of American Journal is a fraction of the publication charges of American Physical Society. We're talking about a few hundred versus a few thousands of dollars.
Okay.
So it's a journal with very small publication charges.
Let me point you to a
Sure.
particular line here.
Please, anything.
This, can you read the line that says received and then the date when the article was received and when it was
Sure.
accepted?
Can you read it? Just read it for me, Carla. No comments.
I'm trying to
Read it, please.
I'm laughing. Received December 24th, accepted December 25th, published June 8, 2016.
Thank you, Carla. Yes.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong, I'm just trying to get information.
Yeah.
So your recollection is consistent with this, that the article was received on December 24th and accepted the 25th?
That I do not know. The only thing I know that this is in China. The editorial office is in Hong Kong. In China, they totally ignore Christmas. They are Buddhist or otherwise. So for them, December 21st is a routine working days. So there is nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Okay, thank you very much. Have you heard that the American Journal of Modern Physics publisher, that is Science Publishing Group, has been called a predatory journal?
Yes, I am.
What does that mean to you, predatory journal?
A predatory journal means a journal that essentially performs like what Frank Israel and Van Erp are doing against me. Essentially the same thing. Publish theory that are not accepted by the organized interest, the center, in this case, represented by Frank Israel and his group.
Okay.
And so therefore, the Frank Israel, they are called, not only Frank Israel, but many other members of his group, they call American Journal of Physics predatory because they publish new things beyond Einstein theory for the pursuit as a normal scientific process of trial and error in moving forward in human knowledge that they strongly oppose.
Okay. And so let me show you another exhibit then and ask you if this is typical of what you're talking about, the criticism of the Science Publishing Group as a predatory journal.
I have to clarify, however, you see, Attorney Parrish, this is very dangerous. I start to begin a little bit tense. Because the word predatory journal was listed by a guy, his name is Beals,
It's
Beals, B-A-E-L, Beals.
Dr. Santilli, please, if you could just answer the question.
I have to, Attorney Parrish,
Hold on for a second. Hold on.
Attorney Parrish, if I cannot clarify, this I feel like being framed. I have to clarify who stated predatory journal.
Okay.
So I feel entrapped.
I understand.
And then this meeting has to stop. We go to the judge.
Well, let me ask you this. If I can ask you the question to allow you to clarify later,
Please
are you
ask
okay
him
with
now,
that?
because it has to be connected directly to the question. Put it later. In the meantime, the emphasis, so I publish in a predatory journal.
Mm-hmm.
That's very demeaning. That's vicious against me. So I request the clarification now, otherwise I leave. Gentlemen, the decision is yours.
Ruggero, Dr. Santilli, it's up to you, but if you
Why?
It's up to
why,
you how you want to deal
why
with this.
Mr. Lake does not allow me to, because he knows that it's against the evidence. He has
Dr.
just-
Santilli, I'm not trying to cut you off. We're just trying to proceed.
Then allow me to state, to clarify, allow me to clarify this predatory journal.
Will you allow me to explain, though, what I'm trying to do? I'm just trying to get an answer from you to the question.
That's not enough. But it's entrapment.
Dr.
You
Santilli.
cut the clarification. It's an entrapment. It's not a due process. It's not a legal process. I consider in compliance with the ethical rule of the United States Bar Association. This is my opinion. You are violating that rule. That's why I already stated many times to Attorney Parrish that I'm anxious to go in front of the judge. I'm
Dr.
only
Santilli.
asking to clarify in 30 seconds
Okay.
who stated this predatory journal.
Sure.
Very legitimate question. That's why the need of the judge to intervene.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I remain. But we just, well, a few seconds I would have
Please.
few seconds I would have gone with extreme anxious to go to the judge. The statement predatory journal, please, and it is very important to be on record if I'm the statement predatory journal was filed by a member and a friend of Frank Israel called the Bail, in the so-called Bail list.
That's B-E-A-L-L, right?
List.
Exactly.
BAL
Thank you.
list. This, and he listed in this list not only the American Journal of Modern Physics, but he listed virtually all journals that have liberal policies, namely the policy of permitting the publication of the pursuit of new knowledge, of new scientific knowledge, which is the historical process of trial and error. Now, here's the point that I must be on record. Bail, the quotation of Bail list is very, very vicious. Why so? Because that Bail list was terminated years and years ago by in September.
I'm sorry, Dr. Santilli, you need to answer the questions. Mrs. Santilli will depose you this afternoon.
Answer for
Carla,
him.
no,
You can't do that. Okay.
If I make a mistake, Carla, was terminated by Bail himself because of threat of lawsuit by a number of journals.
Okay.
One of them was precisely the Chinese group threatened this guy, but they were extremely dishonest sort of quotation and use in a pleading on a lawsuit in which we are trying to defend the interest and we are fighting and spend our life and millions of dollars in defending the interest of the United States. Quoting that Bail list is in violation of the ethical rule of the Bar Association. This is my opinion. Please,
Okay.
I respect yours, if and only if you respect mine.
Of course, I respect your opinion. Would you take a look at Exhibit V45? And does that appear to be one of the articles you're talking about that's picked up on the idea of American Journal of Modern Physics
I
being
don't
a
know.
predatory journal?
I do not know this article. I do not know.
This is a blog spot. This is a blog.
It's a blog. I have no,
You-
I have
you
no
keep
interest in
Okay.
looking. I'm not even looking at it.
But you don't have any reason to believe that's not an internet article about predatory journals, do
I
you?
have no reason. I have no interest in reading it.
Okay. Let me ask you if this is a copy of the Beals list.
I have never seen the bill list,
Okay.
so nor I am interested
I
in
can't have multiple people talking.
Carla. You have to be silent unless I ask you. Then you have to. Then I stop, pause, and you can talk. I have never seen this bill list. In full honesty, I swear, I am the sworn testimonial is the truth. So,
I understand. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, was the Bell's list attached as an exhibit, or was it just given?
It's
It is
it's been marked.
Oh, okay, I just didn't
Oh,
get a
yeah.
copy of that. So.
Sure.
Thank you.
Dr. Santilli, authors sometimes use pen names, P-E-N names, correct?
Yes.
And for example, Samuel Longhorn Clemens, the American author, used the pen name Mark Twain, for
That is
example.
correct. Very familiar. Very used throughout history, beginning
Yes.
with Galileo Galilei.
And you've used pen names, correct?
Never.
You've never used a pen name at all?
I signed Il Grande Grido with my name, my signature. No.
Okay.
No, I do not need to, especially if it is something insidious. I'm very honored to put my name in it. Now, careful, I have to elaborate in this. Careful, because a number of people have copied my statement. We're talking about dozens, if not over 100 people, 100, I should say, scientists, have copied my statement and published them as under their own names. But that does not mean that I was the author. I can have many, I was not prepared, but I could provide you a number of cases in which people have quoted my and they've made it their own.
Do you know the name Luca Petronio?
Luca Petronio, yes, I know the name, yes, indeed.
Okay. What, is that the name of an actual person?
Well, what I can tell you is the following.
Dr. Santilli, you can explain, but if you would just answer my question. Is Luca Petronio the name of an actual person?
No, it's not.
Okay. Now, please explain. Who it is it the name for?
I am the founder of the, this is public notice, I am the founder, and I'm very glad to admit it, because it's been created for America, to defend the freedom of scientific thought in America. That's why it's called International Committee of Scientific Ethics and Accountability, 100% in the interest of America. I am the founder, the very proud founder of this international committee, back 10 or 15 years ago. And I can quote a number of original scientists who immediately participated. I can quote Professor Gregorio Tsagas, chairman of the Department of Mathematics of Thessaloniki University, Professor Gregorio Iannoussis, the senior physicist in one of the most important physicists in Greece.
Sure. Please explain the connection of that committee to Luca Petronio.
I will tell you in a moment, if I am allowed. I think it will be good for you to know a little bit of history in your own interest, but that's up to you. If you cut me out, I think you will lose. More than anything, but that's my opinion. So the committee was and I was the originator. Then I should also call Professor Jack Lomas from Estonia University and a number of others. It's an international committee. They elected, the committee unanimously elected to use a pseudonym, and the pseudonym was Luca Petronio.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
I repeat it with pleasure. The committee elected to use a pseudonym collectively.
And you were a member of the committee, correct?
Yes, of course. Okay. No, I was the founder. I am the founder, but you have to allow me to finish the sentence.
Please, I just didn't understand you.
Then we have problem. Then because then you can twist the situation against me unjustly. So the committee selected. This has been there, the Luca Petronio, since ever. But you recognize easily the different style in the email or the documents. That it's not the same person. Now here is the point. I left the committee completely in 2000, and I don't remember the exact, but in early 2000, when I became the chief executive officer of Thunder Energy Corporation. And since at that time, essentially, I've been completely out of the appellation. There was a clear conflict between my position of a U.S. public company traded at NASDAQ. This was Magnegas Corporation. I was the chief executive officer of Magnegas Corporation, a public company eventually traded at NASDAQ. So I withdrew from and that committee has continued its operation, and I am occasionally informed of their action, but
does the committee continue to use the name Luca Petronio?
Yes, I think
okay.
so.
And you do not participate in the use of that name Luca Petronio any longer? No. But you did until the year 2000 through the committee?
As a part of the committee.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It was a committee. It was a committee. This we're talking about up to the past century, up to at the end of 2000.
Oh, God, thanks.
That's the original. Yeah. It's going to be in your folder somewhere. I can get it. Was our last one 45?
I think we're at 47.
Is the next one?
Is the next one, yes, sorry. Thanks.
I have to add that some of the I would like to have on record, please, that some of the statements by Luca Petronio a statement by individual member of the committee, and not necessarily in representation of the committee itself.
Luca, the word Luca means light, is that right?
Yes, in Latin means.
And I don't speak Italian. I
Well, it
this, I'm
depends
asking.
on the it's a name.
It's a name.
Luca is the name.
Does it mean bearer of light?
No.
Do you know why the name was
luce,
chosen?
In Italian, luce, L-U-C-E, means light. L-U-C-A is a name.
Okay.
But sometime in poetry, they may change the name in different spelling. So
Yes.
it's misinterpreted as representing
understand.
light, but it's just a name.
Okay. Let me ask you about Exhibit V47 and see if you recognize that, especially the email in the middle of the page.
Can you tell me, please, what this is all about? Can you read it, please? The email in the middle.
Charged against Maria and Christian Corda.
I can't understand, I'm sorry.
Criminal is a Gmail. Pepin Van Erp. This is Pepin Van Erp at Gmail. Criminal charges against Maria and Christian Corda. I don't know, and then Joseph Parrish. As you can see from the statement, Professor Santilli has received live threat from Corda. Please turn the ongoing civil lawsuit against Maria Corda, Christian Corda, and their laundering bank into criminal lawsuit. Luca Petronio on behalf of International Committee on Scientific Ethics of Accountability. Mr. Santilli Petronio, I ultimately suggest that you must be the same person. Basically, they're saying that you are the same person.
Same person who is?
This because you said, as you can see, Professor Santilli has received live threats from Christian Corda. Please turn
Which
the
is true.
ongoing civil suit against Maria Corda, etc. Thank you, Luca Petronio. So we're basically trying to say that Luca Petronio and Santilli is the same person.
It is true that I received live threat
Okay.
from this gentleman. The word gentleman I don't think is appropriate.
Okay.
Corda.
Let me ask you some specific questions. Now that Mrs. Santilli has helped you read the email, did you send this email to Attorney Parrish?
I do not remember. I have to check my record.
Okay. The paragraph beneath
If
the
I
one
send-
that
sorry,
was
sorry, if I send it to Attorney Parrish, Attorney Parrish, are you here? Did you receive this email?
I don't think he can answer questions right now.
But,
But let me ask you a follow-up.
Then now
question.
you got it.
Okay.
Then the question is it, then you must have gotten either illegally or some.
Let me ask some questions about it, and then we'll,
Sure,
we'll take a
sure.
look.
I didn't read that one piece.
Sure. If you'll look at the next paragraph after the one that we were just discussing, it says, please proceed for the filing of the lawsuit against M. Corda and C. Corda's associates, Israel and Pepin as
We
planned.
never
Do you
filed
see that?
a lawsuit. We never filed a lawsuit.
I understand the lawsuit against the Cordas, but you did file a lawsuit against Israel and Pepin as planned, correct?
Yes, of course.
Yes, that's why we're here.
Yes.
And
But not
so
against Corda. No.
so the email instructing
No.
Attorney Parrish to file this lawsuit was signed by Luca Petronio, correct?
You tell me so. I have no. I cannot even read, so I cannot read correctly. So.
Well, Ms. Santilli, if you would help him.
Let me just read the thing. It was okay.
Yes, if you claim that, there it says Luca Petronio, that is Luca Petronio.
No, but I think, okay, I need to start from the beginning. Subject, criminal charges against Maria Christian Corda. And then there is this person who is from Joseph Parrish, lucascientificethics.org, to Joseph Parrish. I don't understand this. Basically, dear Attorney Parrish, you can see, basically, Luca Petronio sent an email to Attorney Parrish saying, please file the lawsuit, because I think you had talked to the attorney that you want to do it, but then you ended up never doing it. So basically, Christian Corda sent to Pepin Van Erp in his blog or in a separate thing the email that Luca Petronio sent to Attorney Parrish saying, please file the lawsuit, join the lawsuit with Professor Santilli. Basically, Luca Petronio was authorized by someone to send this email to Attorney Parrish, but it's not your email, it's not my email. Christian, plus, I mean, I don't
Carl-
know. This could be constructed too. I have
Luca
no idea. I
Petron,
never saw
first
that.
of all, this is totally not evidence because this can be falsified. The whole,
If you don't recognize the email, that's fine.
but I want to clarify, however, that that this is. Can we have a copy, Attorney Parish, of this?
I have a-
Because this is a very powerful document in our possession.
And-
Very powerful. Reason I will tell you.
I produced it
privately
in
later
Discovery
on.
quite some time ago.
Very powerful document in our
You
possession.
can keep that copy.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
but in fact, after this email is dated June 24, 2016, correct? The date on that email?
I don't.
It's June 24, 2016, yes.
Okay.
I don't
And
remember.
this lawsuit was filed in August 2016, correct?
To my recollection, Attorney Parish
Okay.
can verify or deny.
And so you were using the luca@scientificethics.org email to communicate with Mr. Parrish in June of 2016, correct?
Object to the form of the question.
No, look at it.
No, I don't understand.
Carl,
I don't
you
even
gotta-
understand the
Carl,
question.
I know, but you gotta let him answer. You can't answer for him.
No, Carla,
Confused because I didn't see.
No, it's
Carla,
okay.
quiet down because they are right. If you speak,
If-
ask the possibility to speak, and they will comply. This is you are asking questions that they have no legal grounds that I can possibly foresee.
Okay.
Remember, I'm no longer a member since I became a public chief executive officer of Thunder Energy Corporation, a United publicly traded company. I'm no longer a member of the International Committee of Scientific Ethics. And whatever happened ever since that time, I will not assume responsibility.
Okay. Let me ask you about domain name registrations. Are you familiar with the process of registering a domain name?
Yes, I am. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
I believe this is a registration for the domain name scientificethics.org, if you would take a look at
yes,
that.
indeed.
And you're familiar with that website, correct?
Yes, I am familiar. But this, after I left, this has been. This is not a recent. Has to be very recent. The domain name has been is no longer owned by. You see, I was the founder of the scientific committee of International Committee of Scientific Ethics. So I did everything at the beginning, including the domain name.
Okay.
When I left, because I assumed the position of chief executive of Thunder Energy Corporation, I relinquished everything. I asked our webmaster even to move the domain name, and it's no longer on the. It was originally filed as part of the Institute for Basic Research, IBR. It is no longer now recorded.
Okay.
So
And
careful not to restrict your data, implying that documents belong. They apply now. No, they do not apply. This is no longer a valid document.
Okay, let me ask you some questions about it. If you'll look in the line that says registrant, in other words, the person to whom the domain is registered, the name there is Luca Petronio, correct?
If you tell me so,
Well,
I
would
cannot
you take a
read-
look, please?
With my eyesight, I cannot. I accepted your. There is no need to. There is
Okay.
no need that attorney.
The address here is 35246 US 19 North. Are you familiar with that address?
Yes, it's my address. That is correct.
That's your address, okay.
Yes, yes.
And the phone number, if you turn over to the second page of the exhibit, is 727-688-3992. Do you recognize that phone number?
Repeat again the number.
Sure, 727-688-3992.
Yes. I
What phone?
recognize-
Whose phone number is that?
Yes, it is my. Yes, it is my cell.
Your cell phone number?
But we need to see the address.
It's on the exhibit.
No, oh, let me see, because in that, okay, where is the address? Yeah, unit 225, is not our address. This is unit 225,
No,
it's not an
no,
address
it's
that
not
we
mine.
know.
No, it's not mine.
What is at that street address, 35246 US 19
It's a
North?
mailbox. There are
It's a
several.
mailbox?
Yes.
Okay.
There are
The
several.
mailbox I don't recognize on the mailbox.
Okay, so you have a different unit number on
Exactly.
your mailbox, but at the same street address?
Exactly.
US
That is correct.
Okay, and then but then I was asking you about the phone number, and I think you were indicating you recognize that number, 727-688-3992.
Yes, I do.
And that's your cell phone number?
It is.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I have the
Sure.
exhibit numbers right. 48? Yes, okay. Exhibit 49, please. Dr. Santilli, if you would take a look at that. You're familiar with the R.M. Santilli Foundation, correct?
Yes, I do.
And I'll represent you. This is the contact page from the website for the foundation. And you see there it lists as contact information the telephone number we just discussed, 727-688-3992, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Tell me what you know about the website ibr.org.
I found it,
Okay. It's for the Institute for Basic Research,
of which
right?
I am president.
Of which you are president. Okay. And so, did you register that domain name, ibr.org?
To my recollection, yes.
Okay. If you would take a look at that, I believe that's the whois data for ibr.org.
Can you read this?
Thank you.
So what is the?
I'll address the question to me, please, and then I'll pass it.
This is under 1444. The address is 1444.
The registrant name here for ibr.org is Thunder Energies Corporation. That's one of your companies, correct?
This is a publicly traded company, not
Yes,
our company.
but this domain, ibr.org, is registered to Thunder Energies Corporation,
Not
correct?
now.
Well, the words are on that document, though, correct?
That may have been a temporary mistake, unless you identify the date. May be tricky, maybe so.
Okay, well, this was printed, there's a date at the top left
No,
corner.
not the printing, the
Oh.
date of registration. No, you don't trick
Okay.
me. Don't try to trick me with the
I'm
word
not trying to
look.
trick you,
Yes,
Dr.
do.
Santilli.
But about the date of this document, I couldn't care less. But if you tell me the date of the registration, then I will respect that.
Okay, well, it is here. It was created, the domain was created in January of 2000, and the updated date was April of 2015. Do you see that there?
The update, the domain, that I have to see under which ownership, because I believe, to my recollection, I have to do an investigation
Okay.
for this. I'm not prepared for this. I have to look what happened, the history.
Okay, well, I'm just asking you what the document says. I understand you didn't bring any history with you today. Let me ask you about the
I do
second
not-
page
at
of the exhibit.
this moment, I do not know who is the owner of it. Is my knowledge, but I have to verify the evidence that the domain name IBR is independent from Thunder Energy, has no
Okay.
connection with Thunder Energy. Thunder Energy is a public company.
Okay,
So
if
not
you
the
would just still let
connection.
me ask you a question about the second page of that document. If you
Please.
take a look at
Go
it.
ahead, go ahead.
Ms. Santilli, could Dr. Santilli look at that, please?
Yes,
On the second page of the document, you see about the sixth line down said, as admin name, Ruggero Santilli. Do you see that?
yes.
Okay.
I don't see, but I believe you. This is the truth what you tell me. I have no reason to doubt.
Okay. Is there something we could do to help you read documents? Because that's pretty important.
I have a macular degeneration, so I have problems with it. There's nothing you can do, unfortunately.
Okay.
Really, I can drive very well because I have a problem in the macula. I have a macula. I have problems in my macula, for your knowledge, certified
Okay.
by various doctors.
All right. So, but you don't have reason to disagree with me that the IBR.org domain registration information lists you as admin, Thunder Energies as the admin organization, and the same phone number, 727-688-3992.
It could be. I have to verify the existence of the status and if there have been any change, the date of the changes.
Okay.
Very important, the date, because those documents were changed in time several times.
Who is George Weiss?
George White was an editor of algebra, group, and geometry decades and decades ago.
Did you work with him professionally?
Yes, he was the editor. Living somewhere in New York. I don't even remember where he was.
Are you familiar with an article from a Latin American scientist named Waldir Rodriguez concerning you?
He's a scientist. He died many years ago.
Okay. Are you familiar with an article in which he suspected George Weiss was an alter ego of yours?
Oh, they have been accused by so many. Oh, this is not the only one. Oh, it's not only George Weiss. I had many. Anytime that what they call Einstein fanatics, disagree with my papers, they immediately, or anybody who disagreed with or try to go beyond Einstein was dubbed Santilli alias. So I have a long list. This is not the only one.
Tell me more about the Einstein fanatics. Who are they?
The Einstein fanatics are scientists who dishonestly abuse governmental money of the United States taxpayers, to claim that Einstein special relativity is valid for all possible conditions, existing in the universe. What the scientific statement is that Einstein special relativity is incontrovertibly valid for the condition stated by Albert Einstein, which is for point particles and electromagnetic waves propagating in vacuum. The word vacuum is removed because of political interest in science, and the claim is twisted into a universal validity of special relativity for all possible conditions existing in the universe, including for extended particle inside a star, extended particle within the physical media, and so on. Okay. And this has created enormous problem of scientific ethics in the United States of America, which has acquired now historical proportion, because it's a distortion of evidence, because the uncontrovertible validity of Einstein's special relativity for the condition so clearly identified by Einstein, for monetary, financial, ethnic, and others, are extended to all conceivable conditions existing in the universe, but without experimental evidence. There is incontrovertible experimental evidence that special relativity is exactly valid under the conditions stated by Einstein. Point particle in typical case, an electron orbiting around the nucleus in the hydrogen atom. That it is beyond any possible doubt. But the moment that same electron is enter in the core of a star, is immersed in a hyperdense medium, then as a conjecture of validity can be stated, but not as certainly. But it is used to get money, grants, and so on.
And you identified that bias in, among other things, the ethical probe on Einstein's followers in the USA, correct?
Which I've been very proud to be the author of that book. It's
Okay.
one of the most famous books I've written.
And so it's famous, and you agree with it still, correct?
Of course. Okay. Notice I praise Einstein. I attack Einstein followers because they use and abuse to get money. Einstein condition for condition. One of the reasons I am so strong, I am one of the strongest supporters of Albert Einstein, because he opposed those groups. As an example, historical example, proved beyond doubt, that Albert Einstein opposed the conjecture of the expansion of the universe, because it was it's disproved by so much evidence. It implies the Earth at the center of the universe. I could stay the entire day to the inconsistency of this. But so Albert Einstein opposed, and he died without accepting the expansion of the universe.
Let me ask you about a couple of passages in
Sure.
the ethical probe. I was going to ask you to read them, but I will read them.
No, I cannot read it.
I
I'm sorry.
understand. I think you're talking here about this problem you've just described. This is in the foreword to the book on page 2, and Joe, I'll give you copies at the appropriate time.
I'll give a copy.
And they've
to
been
you.
produced.
I have a copy for you. Attorney Parrish, I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. The problem is instead of a much more insidious nature and consists of manipulatory practices on truly fundamental physical issues perpetrated by overlapping rings of academic, financial, ethnic interests in the highest levels of the physics community. You agree with that, correct?
Absolutely. It's my statement.
And it's still true.
Yes, I agree 100%.
That's right.
And Mr. Lake, just for the record, is there a page number that goes along with
Yeah,
that?
that was page 2,
Okay, thank
and I'm about to read a sentence from page 3. Talking about why you wrote the book and why you're describing this problem, I think. You said, I could not have possibly remained in the USA while silently watching its scientific future being jeopardized by rather unprecedented extremes of scientific, academic, ethnic greed. You recognize that as words you wrote?
Absolutely. I confirm it as of today. Actually, this was written in 1984. I am an American because I love America. And this book has been written for my love for this country.
Very good.
And that's why this is one of the biggest abuses of the United States of this country, this beautiful country, by organizing it by dishonesty.
Let me read you one other passage. This is also from the forward, page 7. The hostility you've described, you say, originated within vested academic, financial, ethnic interests who apparently opposed the conduction of the studies for the sole pursuit of personal gains in disrespect for the interests of America as well as of the society at large.
I confirm this 100%. I would have left. I didn't. I came to America as a wealthy. I'm the son of a medical doctor. I had no need to come to America. I came to America because I love the country, and I intend to have many other physicists who have been dissident, have been chased out of America or killed. That's the case of Eugene Malov, who is my former colleague at MIT. He was killed under very mysterious circumstances that perhaps Attorney Parrish, you should ask me after the meeting because it is pertinent now, the assassination, the murder of, and I received a life threat myself.
Let me ask you about another passage of the book, please.
Yes, but sorry, I missed, but the point, because I'm very proud to be the author of that statement. We are fighting for America here.
This is from page 85 of the book, and I think makes a similar point. You say, when vested academic, financial, ethnic interests on Einstein's ideas endanger or jeopardize even minimally the security of this country, I cannot be silent. That's still true, correct?
I confirm this 100%. I love this country.
What are the ethnic interests you're talking about?
They are what's stated there repeatedly. Let me elaborate.
Please.
Without 30 seconds, but no interruption, please. Otherwise, I get nervous. They are, first of all, in that state, they are organized. We're not talking about individual. So we are talking an organization documented beyond any. Incidentally, what I'm about to say is at the foundation of this lawsuit as well. So first of all, they are organized. Secondly, they are academic. The biggest, once you are in academia, and I reached the top of academia, a position at Harvard, funded by the Department of Energy, I could not go higher. Then the biggest interests are whether you are Italian, Spanish, Jewish is irrelevant. Academia is the top priority. Secondly, when you are in it's financial. You got no money, you got no salary, you are trashed out. Finally, there are ethnic interests. Now, this word ethnic has been twisted by Jews, scientists, including Frank Israel, as referring solely to Jewish, which is absolutely is dishonesty to state, because there are, for instance, Spanish people who are non-Jewish are the most fanatic of Einstein. So it is very well known. So it's an intentional twist to damage we. So what does it mean? Does ethnic interest? It means all ethnicity who have an interest on Einstein theory. Basically, this is and they have twisted the reality, and that's why I am a leader on this now movement that cannot be assassinated anymore.
So the ethnic interests you talked to talked about in these passages of ethical probe, that refers to Jewish people and Spanish people. Is that what you're saying?
Includes
Object to the
all. You want to say something?
I just objected to form. You can still answer.
I can answer.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, the truth cannot be changed. It is known everywhere for people in good faith.
Okay.
Crooked people. It refers, first of all, to Jewish. Of course, you cannot deny the Jewish as part of that. Einstein was Jewish. So deny that it just will be, something I would feel against my moral principle. But it includes basically everybody, all the scientists that may have received a chair on Einstein theory. This includes, and among them, I was about to say, the most fanatics are Spanish people. Spanish, South American, for instance, are known to be the most fanatics, even though they are not Jewish. They are known to be most fanatics on Jewish theory. But there are also other ethnic groups, of course. So there is a long list of ethnicity that are included and documented in any case. Documented in that denomination, which I'm very proud to have, is known now all over the world and set in history.
And the particular ethnic group that you mentioned Einstein was a part of was Jewish people, correct?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Not all Jewish people. Some of my Jewish friends, some of my best friends are Jewish. My son-in-law is Jewish, to begin with. So we have Jewish people in our family. But for instance, let me make an example. My best friends are in Israel. Not only an example, I was invited in Israel to present for an international congress. I forget it's okay, Carl. I was invited in Israel for an international congress in gravitation, and I was not able to attend for many reasons. I presented a paper on surpassing Einstein gravitation. The paper was published by the editor. They are from Jerusalem. Oh, here it is. Carla brought it. This is the International Congress, and here you can see the editor from Israel. Mm-hmm. They published my paper, and that was very respectfully beyond Einstein. And those scientists from Israel, they are some of the best supporters that I had throughout my life, and they're quoted in many of my papers.
Dr. Santilli.
Let me finish. I'm sorry. So we are talking about the very small, this is a very important, Tony Parrish, I need your legal assistance to clarify this, and I want to repeat the statement twice. What we are talking about, Einstein, fanatic Einstein supporter, which you read everywhere. We are talking about, I want to testify with evidence, such as this one, supported by Israel, that supported, invited to go there, the payment of the ticket and so on. We're talking about a very small minority of the Jewish community. We're talking about physicists, very limited number of Jewish physicists who are fanatic of Einstein and wants Einstein theory to be valid for all conceivable conditions existing in the universe. In this respect of clear evidence that there are limitations, as it is the case for all physical theory, but the very large number of Jewish physicists have supported me, are continuing to support me. Here there are two. Carla, please read the Jewish authors from Israel, or the author, and they published my books there. Read the names of the editor. One is Ruffini, but the others are Jewish.
The sponsor.
Okay.
No, the author of this proceedings.
One is
the author.
Sivi Piran and
Piran, is the head of one of the most important Jewish physicists in Israel.
Okay.
My great supporter, incidentally, and person I respect greatly, because he's a real scientist.
Dr. Santilli, let me ask you a question. In your answer, you mentioned Dr. Israel. You mentioned Frank Israel.
Yes.
How do you? I think you said Frank Israel is Jewish. Is that what you said?
Yes, of course.
Why is that? Of course. Why?
I believe it. It could not be necessary.
Why do you believe it's true, though?
Let me make the statement.
Please.
But, if I made any statement, I will correct it. To my understanding, at this moment, without any verification, I heard that Frank Israel is Jewish.
Who'd you hear that from?
Discussions and meetings. The last meeting we had in China.
And why is that significant?
It's not a question of significance. No,
Well, you remembered it. Why do you remember his
because
ethnicity?
because we are discussing this academic, financial, ethnic interest. Frankly, Israel, since he has the name Israel, it is generally known to be Jewish. However, honestly, I have no evidence that he is nobody has evidence that he is Jewish. In any case, assuming that he is Jewish, what's wrong with being a Jewish? I see nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong to be Jewish, unless, and I have insisted on this point, unless you want to hide it for some ideas that are very equivocal in the United States of America. No, we all are equal in our ethnic identity, and I am Italian. I am honored when I'm told, people say Ruggero Maria Santilli is of Italian ethnic background. I'm very honored. Jewish people that I know and respect are the same. They are very honored to be identified as Jewish. Yes, why not?
What religion is Pepin van Erp?
I have no idea.
Okay. And let me ask you about, you mentioned Jewish and Spanish people with regard to Einstein. Let me ask you, what ethnic groups do not have an interest in Einstein's theories?
Object to the form of the question.
To my knowledge, they have no interest. To my knowledge, Chinese people couldn't care less about whether Einstein was. You look about Einstein as a scientist, whether it's Jewish, and they couldn't care less.
Okay.
And there may be other people, for instance, the Middle East. They're very, the Middle East. There is a nightmare, and some of the Middle East, all this conflict. They couldn't care less whether Jewish or not. They were interested in Einstein theory. Period. With Einstein, in my opinion, I want to be on record, is one of, indeed, has his place in history because he deserves it 100%. He has been one of the greatest scientists produced by mankind, is my opinion.
I just want to make sure I understand you correctly. You believe that Frank Israel is part of the vested academic, financial, ethnic interests in Einstein's ideas, correct?
What I heard, but I have no evidence that this is the case, none.
Okay. But that's the reason you named him in this lawsuit, correct?
I'm sorry?
That's the reason you named him in this lawsuit?
Object to the form of the question.
This is ridiculous.
Why did you name Frank Israel in this lawsuit?
Well, let me, but I have to, don't cut me out, otherwise I leave. Because I can take manipulation up to a point, then I have my dignity. And I take the consequences, but you'll take also yours.
Why did you name Frank Israel in this lawsuit?
Because for a number of reasons. First of all, because the most important website attacking me is the official website of the Dutch in Dutch of the Skeptic Society, of which he is president, and therefore he cannot deny that he is responsible of the content of his website in Dutch. You should have it translated. You have plenty of money, but the people are paying you. Have that website translated because sooner or later will come out.
But that's not what you're not talking about. The website where the articles by Pepin van Erp are posted.
No, Pepin van Erp is a little puppet.
Okay.
No,
okay, so tell me what Dr. Santilli.
I have a problem because you interrupt my statement. This is a manipulation of my statement. I'm beginning to get nervous.
I would just like you to answer my question.
Do not interrupt me continuously because you may dream of manipulating me. I leave.
I'm not trying to manipulate you, Dr. Santilli.
Then let me make my statement.
Right,
without interruption.
Let me repeat my question, though.
And I will answer if I am not interrupted. Okay. Otherwise, I leave, and we will go in front of the judge.
Let me ask you why you've explained that there's another website that you believe Frank Israel involved with. My question is, why did you name Frank Israel in this lawsuit?
Because the primary website attacking me is the official website of the Dutch Skeptic Society that is available in Dutch language. And that is why then the website that you know by Pepin van Erp, that's a very tangential, irrelevant. It's a translation of a guy making, but those are translations from the website in Dutch, that is of which Frank Israel, being the president, of that society is directly responsible.
Okay, so
That's the
he's
reason why.
responsible because he's the president, correct?
Of course, he is the president. Otherwise, you think
Right.
that the president is not responsible of the content.
Right.
Is
But
this
you-
what you mean? The
No,
president
no.
is not responsible because he's your customer. So therefore, the president is not responsible. That's what you meant when you interrupted me?
No, that's not what I
Then
meant.
is
Dr.
equivalent.
Santilli,
Then
I'm trying to ask
clarify.
you a question.
Then I have to, if you want this meeting to convince, you have to be clean.
I'm not trying to
then-
convince you of anything, I'm just trying to
then-
ask you questions.
Then do you confirm, yes or no, that Frank Israel, as president of the Dutch Chemical Society, is responsible for the content of his website? Yes or no?
I'm not allowed to answer questions
And
today.
then, Attorney Parrish, I want to leave because this is beyond the level I can tolerate. Beyond the level I can take.
Dr. Santilli, I hope that we can continue,
Yeah.
but if you feel that you need to leave, you know, you've talked to me about that, and I've talked to you about that, but
There is a limit of manipulation.
well, how
Unethical.
about if can we do we have a pending question right now? or
We
no?
can take a break.
How about if we take a break and let's talk real quick? Is
I want to
is that
make a
good?
statement before the break, and I want to
Sure.
have it on record. What we are talking about in my wife and I, we filed this lawsuit because we want to serve the interest of the United States of America, to our knowledge. We have been attacked by foreigners. Frank Israel is a foreigner, but Pepe Van Air is a foreigner. Our country has been attacked by foreigners in the most vital function, the pursuit of basically new research, including basically new research for new weapons that America needs to defend ourselves. So what is at stake, and I reserve I want to have this, I will speak very slowly. I reserve the right to make my own judgment as to whether the attorney here present, Attorney Parrish, can you tell me the full name of those two individuals, please?
I can't give you information to testify.
In any case, whether Attorney Attorney McGuire, and your name, Attorney,
Lake.
your real name or just fake name?
That's my real name since I was born.
That you say so. I am, and I forgot now. I forgot the statement.
So let's interrupt. Let's go. Let's take a break.
No, let me finish the statement. Do you remember what Carla was saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
Can you read me what I stated, please? Because there was an interruption. I want to have continuity.
You said, I will speak very slowly, I reserve the right to make my own judgments as to, and then you stopped yourself and said, who are the attorneys present here? So you were talking about our country has been attacked by foreigners in the most vital function, the pursuit of basically new research, including new research for new weapons that America needs to defend ourselves from.
And I'll reserve my judgment whether the attorney, both of you, McGuire and attorney, whether you are verifying the code of ethics of the United States of America, or you are violating it to serve foreign interests, attacking us in the most vital function, surpassing Einstein for new weapons, new theories, new industry. So you will be judged. So I have to put you online on this, that you will be judged. Whether in other words, you have to have, my advice to you, should have incontrovertible proof. For instance, when I'm accused that I fake the price at the international meeting in France, you have to have proof that indeed I faked the price. And if you take so lightly the fake position of your defendant, you become a sausage. That's why I don't call the defendants I call your defendants people I do not know the relationship between you and your defendant. Also, I want to be on record that we want to know, eventually want to know who pays Attorney McGuire and Attorney, your name again?
Lake.
I would like to know who pays them. Are they paid by there are insisting rumors in the people who are watching this lawsuit that Frank Israel and Pepe do not have the money to pay them. So they are paid by U.S. money. So we want to know, since we are serious American, we are American serious in the United States of America, we want to know who pays those two attorneys to support interests so clearly damaging to the military security of our country, let alone the freedom of research. End of my speech. And so that's why it is my opinion this lawsuit is just at its beginning. And there are a number of, besides will be continued in Europe in any case, independently of whatever the case is. And once we pass to Europe, then the perspective will be completely different. Thank you for
Watch your microphone, Dr. Santilli, and we'll take a quick break, if that's okay with you.
At 11:35 a.m., we are going off the record.